Forget the episode. I want to shop. I'm already like, oh, man. Welcome back to this episode of a Girl Business Podcast. Today with me, I have Jody of Rusty Chandelier. She is in one of the most iconic buildings in Chester, and they are actually getting ready to celebrate their 80th anniversary. And I'm really excited to learn more about your story and your history because we've been working together for, I think, a little over a year now.
Yeah.
But I don't really know the deets, so start at the top.
Well, I think I'd like to start off with maybe a statement and then a thank you. I want to just say thank you for having me. It's really evident that you've spent a lot of time and money to make this nice, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to women in business, that I think we have more influence than we realize because of my story. I grew up around women owning businesses, which was kind of a big deal. You know, I was born in 1973, so you can, kind of look back at that time and see how women were treated. Maybe we were starting to get a little bit more respect in the business world. But there were definitely, for sure, 3 influential women in my life, one being my mother, who owned her own salon, and 2 other women, one of which I have the space now, Sharon Henry. She owned that space before me, and her husband before that. And also one of her best friends and my father's best friend's wife, Kathy Janelle. They all own their own businesses. They had boutiques in town. And thinking back on it, I was thinking before this podcast, thinking about how my first time in town, when I moved to a more prominent space in town, how proud I was to be a part of that world and the influence that those women had on me. I never even thought twice or thought that it wasn't possible for me to own my own business. And that's because of women who did things that might not be the most popular thing to do. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you women out there who have really paved the way for us to be who we are. I never even thought in a million years that it would be impossible. In my mind, it was just a possibility. It was something, not a dream that was too big for me to dream. And it is because of, truthfully, I guess, women pioneering in business that I'm here today.
I didn't think to bring tissues.
And then also to my family, who have put in an effortless amount of time, money. I wouldn't be where I am today without them and everything that they've done. So I would say officially I've been in business for, I don't know, we could go around 11, 12 years. I started out as just helping out in another business that was owned by a gentleman, and they kind of needed some help, so I just started showing up. And his wife taught me how to restyle furniture, and that's kind of where it all started. They ended up having to step back, so we agreed to become partners, and then they had to move, so I bought their half out, and here we are.
Yeah. So is that where you got your start with the furniture? Because I know that you do like commission pieces, like where you'll restore furniture and stuff.
Yeah, and kitchens and stuff like that. That's where I got started with that. I've always loved design. I have 0 education in it, but I've always just loved it. I've loved turning a house into a home. I do it at my own house. And it was just something that I kind of naturally was curious about when I saw her doing it. And she consigned furniture. So the main thing that they did at their boutique was consign furniture. That was their mainstay. And then she just kind of bought stuff on the side and added her own stuff.
And how long were you working there?
Maybe a year. I don't know. I'm really weird with time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
You
all
ask
blends
me how
together.
old I am sometimes, and I just look at my husband and I'm like, how old am I? I don't know. Because I don't know, it's just a number to me, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might start mattering at some point, but
Yeah.
anyhow.
So we'll say about a year.
Sure.
It was the boutique.
It was called Unique Boutique at that time.
Unique Boutique, and you're there for a year.
Yeah.
About.
Yeah, I don't, it might have been in that building maybe for 2 years. A year with them, and then maybe a year after. And once I bought them out, I kind of changed the name. I'm kind of weird. I don't know, some people say business wise. I kind of kept their branding. I felt like it was kind of disrespectful to not. I know that's weird. It's not really good business thinking, but I did. I kept the bubblegum pink and the black for a while, and just renamed the store. And then we had the opportunity to move to our next space, which was right next door to where we are now, 216 Main Street, right near the park, right in kind of really the hub of Chester. It's near where most of the action happens, and really the best thing I ever did, but it freaked me out because my rent was going to be higher, and
Yeah, that's a big step.
yeah. So, but it worked out. God has really taken good care of us. So, and then I've known Sharon Henry, like I said, all my life. And at some point while I was over there, I just kind of asked her, if you ever decide you'd like to sell or move out, can I have first dibs at trying to make a deal with you? And she said, absolutely. So when she was ready to retire, she came to me and we talked and worked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you move past, because like you said, that's a big step and you're like, oh my gosh, like my rent is going to be more. How did you know that that was the right choice to make?
I don't know if I can really answer that. We are firm believers in Jesus Christ and we pray about everything. And one of the things I can say is that it kind of fit with where we wanted to move into. We had researched and been learning about espresso for probably 8 years at that point. We'd already picked out the tea company, Piper and Leaf, that we wanted to carry. We had been to trainings, learned, everything that we could about espresso, the science behind it, the mixology, all of that. And so we were just kind of waiting for the right space to come along, that we could add that to what we did.
Yeah.
And this seemed to fit.
And then are the two businesses, are they combined, or is that where Cozy Cabin is now? I can't really remember.
Cozy Cabin is in the space that I was. It's one building and it's divided in half-ish.
Okay.
So one side is a little bit bigger than half. So I was in the smaller half. And then the building next to me when I first moved in was Sunshine Flowers. And then she moved. And then for a while it became a clothing boutique and Little Shop of Nails. And then I'm trying to remember. My apologies if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was anything in between that. Just kind of set. We had actually considered expanding into there, but the cost of adding everything we would need for coffee was just too much of an expense for us.
Yeah.
And we did try and broker a deal to buy that building, but it just didn't work out. No. So God had bigger ×3 things.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're getting ready to move into the building, and then you guys were, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were closed for a period of time for like remodeling and stuff?
Yes, I believe we were closed. So we closed escrow I want to say January 14th, right after the Dixie Fire. The Dixie Fire kind of pushed escrow out quite a bit because we had actually started negotiations and paperwork in August, and then Dixie showed up. So Sharon she actually, it's been a great relationship with her. Everything that we've done to the building, everything that we've changed in the soda fountain, I have run by and discussed with her to have her input. Why wouldn't I want somebody's input who had been there for over 50 years?
Right.
But she let us come to the back as she was liquidating, and I got to go back there and paint. She let us in. She let me start moving my merchandise back to the back, everything that I didn't have on my showroom floor. And we moved the last of my merchandise actually on New Year's Eve day with my family. She even let us start taking things apart before escrow was closed because we, as you know, where the pharmacy was, we took down all the soffits from the ceiling and everything and just opened it up. She let us start that before we closed escrow too.
That's awesome.
So it's been a really good relationship. And I had just friends and family show up by the droves. The first day that we came there to officially work after escrow was closed, I just had friends show up in their work clothes. And they were willing to do anything we asked. And they showed up day after day. So we were closed through January and February and had our grand opening, I think it was on March 4th of that year.
So that's coming up. Wait, what? That's like in a few days. It's
Yeah.
your anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
sort of, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like 2 more days away.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well,
Isn't
happy
it? That's
anniversary.
awesome.
Cheers.
Woot woot.
We're celebrating on the podcast day, the anniversary of Rusty Chandelier. How did you get that name?
I stole it. When I had, my partners were still around, they had to go back east to visit some family and shopped on their way home. And one of the stores that they purchased from was called the Rusty Chandelier, and I really loved it. So I did some digging to make sure it wasn't trademarked or, anything like that. Kind of thought about it, and I really loved it. And I felt like it fit what I wanted to have the store become. I would really call our store probably modern day Mercantile. Is the best way that I would be able to describe it.
Yeah.
Because we do have a mix of old and new, and then we have the soda and the espresso.
Yeah. That's perfect. So you're kind of like blending all the generations of Chester together.
Sort of, kind of. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could put it that way.
Which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So, and you're a Chester native, right? You're born and raised?
Well, sort of, kind of, but not really.
Okay.
I'm 4th generation Chesterite. However, my parents moved away for a short time on a business venture to Provo, Utah, to run a hotel and cafe. And it just turned out that didn't work out. It wasn't going to be enough to sustain 2 families. So when I was 6 months old, my parents moved back to Chester.
Okay.
But my mother was born and raised here. Her mother was born in Westwood because Westwood used to be bigger than Chester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the main hub, so the hospital was there. She was born in Westwood, and then her husband they would migrate from Butte County to Chester to work in the summers, and that's how they met. So
Cool.
yeah, and then my dad's dad was actually born down in Seneca. I don't know if you've ever heard of the mining town down the Feather River Gorge.
No.
He was born and raised down there.
Okay. So you've seen a lot of
Yes,
Chester then. So
yes,
Okay.
yes,
So you know the
yeah,
history.
yeah.
And now you're in the soda fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the contingencies when they sold, right? Like the soda fountain has to say.
We discussed it. She asked me if I would have. I think she would have gave me her blessing if we had chosen not to, but we did. We decided. She was very upfront. The soda fountain does not make any dollars. It is. I probably could call it a nonprofit. It's a break-even gig at best, but we felt like we should keep it for the community. That's kind of the theme for our 80th celebration, generations of tradition or something like that.
Yeah.
Tradition for generations.
Oh, I like
Because
that.
people have been coming there for years.
Yeah.
We'll have older gentlemen, in their 80s, 90s come and sit down and go, imagine me sitting here 50 years ago and my girlfriend was behind the counter. And,
Yeah.
cute little stuff like that.
A little root beer float with like the 2 straws.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the 50s diner.
And even though we remodeled, we tried to keep as much of the history as possible. So the whole countertop, the stools, that's all original. The cabinet behind is original. All of the stainless steel counters that we have there are all original. All of the wood on the walls came from all of the displays that Sharon had built, which I found out later by my father.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
So he came in to help us take them apart, and he's like, I'm taking apart what I built. So we took all those apart, saved the wood, and burned it, treated it, and then I wire brushed it twice, and then we put it back up on the walls and finished it. So
That's amazing.
yeah, we tried to keep as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really special that there's so much, so many generations of love, like literally, and like hard
Truth.
work and
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
like touch and just, and there's so many like hidden gems in small towns like that, and you wouldn't know unless you have the opportunity to sit
Yeah,
down and hear
yeah.
the stories. So I
Yeah.
think that's great.
It's true. I think it's important to. I love Chester, and I would love to see it thrive.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully this is going to be a good. We're going to speak into existence. It's going to be a
Right.
great year.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, okay, so what year? Because we had the COVID, and then we had the Dixie fire, and then last year we had that other fire that kind of blocked down the highways.
Yeah.
So what has it been like, kind of getting over those hurdles?
Slow. I would say I guess I have a little bit of gratitude for never knowing boom, because actually when we became partners, it was during what you could call recession. So since then, I would have to say business wise, I don't think there's really Chester has seen boom like, the 80s, the 90s, or the 50s or the 60s, where people made good money and had extra. So I don't know. This year we have construction on all sides. So,
Do we?
trying to convince people to come to town,
Oh my
people don't like to wait.
gosh.
So we'll see what happens. But I have never had to declare a loss, which is unheard of even in your first year of business.
Awesome.
In Chester, especially small towns, it usually takes 3 to 5 years to get established. So I think that's pretty awesome.
That is
Not a
awesome.
pat on my back, but to the community for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So Chester sometimes is not a town that's super accepting of change. You should have
Truth.
seen the way people reacted about the roundabout. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
We suffered a little bit of that changing the soda fountain. People, I realized in the second year, like it really hurt my heart because we put so much time and effort into it, and it's a lot of work. It's 3, 4, 5 extra staff that I don't need at all if we didn't do ice cream. And people were not pleased. And I took it so personally at first. And the second year, I was reading one of the not so great reviews, and the way she worded things, I actually realized that people were grieving the change. So I thought, okay, let's give it another year and see. So that was last year, and things have been a little bit better. People have been more accepting and understanding, and they want to know the history. And so hopefully this year
Yeah.
we won't have as many angry elves, and we'll have just grateful elves.
Yeah, I mean, you've
So-
kept so much of the original
Yeah,
stuff. I mean,
yeah.
you've definitely. I feel like you've done more than your due diligence, like pay homage. So
Sure.
let's try to get with the program, you guys.
It's okay. It's all good. I understand. People, I think in general, don't like change, especially when it's been generation after generation. Like you want to share your experience with your kids and then your grandkids. And when it changes, it hurts your heart. So I think it's human nature. And so we'll give it another few years and see how it goes.
Yeah. Do
So.
you have any? I know you have the 80th party coming up.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
The plan is to have it be like a gigantic birthday party. We are going to do a special limited menu. We're only going to do the old fashioned things. So we're probably going to do small sundaes, floats, and old fashioned sodas, which is it's just the same recipe actually that they've had for 80 years. It's the same exact. And so we'll be doing that. And then we've been talking about maybe just having free samples of phosphates, which is a really old fashioned thing.
Oh, what is that? I don't
We were going to put it on the menu, but I think we'll just do free samples so everybody can experience the history of it. It's just soda water with the flavor of your choice. And then there's a phosphate. It's kind of like... It's tangy like lemon, but it has this little bite to it. And it's a phosphate. It's like adding bitters to your drink type of thing.
Okay.
And it's phosphate. It's a phosphate that you drip in, and it only takes like a couple drops for the drink, but it just adds this tangy, bitey taste to it. So it'll be,
Sounds
I think,
delicious.
different than anybody has probably ever tasted. I've had a
Yeah.
couple people in and ask me if we could make it, and we've made it. So
That's really cool.
yeah, but for everybody to get to sample would be fun.
yeah,
I think.
I'll be there.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do. I've already started setting aside stuff for door prizes, so we're gonna have really fun ice cream related door prizes. Probably, usually when you go to a birthday party, you get a little swag bag to leave with. So we're gonna do something probably ice cream related to that when you leave. So it's gonna be fun. It's
It
gonna be
sounds
really
like it's
fun.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's August 2nd?
August 2nd,
August
which is a
2nd.
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
You won't be able
awesome.
to miss us. We'll have lots of balloons out front.
I'm already envisioning like, oh, what if I did like a mural of a Bigfoot and he's like eating an ice cream, or like Bigfoot at an old soda fountain counter.
That would be fun.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
The idea's already flowing in.
Yeah, and then we have a few other things that we're just kind of considering right now, and that one of them is at least doing one feature where you get to meet our artisans. I love, love, love to have handmade local stuff.
Yeah.
And so does everybody else. They love coming in. So we have probably about a good 5 or 6 local artisans, Quincy, Chester, Susanville. And then I try and buy as much made in America as I can. And then most of our souvenirs are American made. And then kind of go off of that. So meet our artisans. And then we are considering maybe doing some sort of family photo shoot, perhaps at the soda
cool.
fountain for Christmas cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Haven't really worked out all the details on that, but that's a possibility that we're kind of looking into.
I know a really good photographer if you guys are looking for a
Awesome.
photographer. She does the Santa photos at when they do the big Christmas thing at the fairgrounds here in
Okay.
Quincy. And so if you need her info, I can give you her info.
We're also looking for Santa.
We need a Santa.
And a Mrs. Claus if you have one.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, for Black Friday night, Merchant Night in Chester. It's really fun. It's like a Hallmark event.
How was
We do it
that?
every year.
How did it go last year?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Awesome. Yeah. It's been a long time tradition. Actually, Sharon Henry was on the chamber when that first started. It's kind of been her brainchild. And I don't even know how old Merchant Night is, but it's taken on a life of its own. Like it really doesn't have a true host anymore. It just
Yeah.
happens every year as tradition. But we have had the privilege of getting to set up the niche in between the two buildings where I used to be and where I am now, and setting it up. And Santa arrives usually in the fire truck or an old-fashioned, 1950s truck or something. And he and Mrs. Claus stay there and the kids line up, and they usually get candy canes and get to talk to Santa that night too.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's really fun.
Okay, and you're looking for a Santa and a Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, Santa for sure. Mrs. Claus, yes.
Okay, that's going to be
Too,
super
if we
fun.
can. Yeah.
And then you said that you like to work with local, and I can attest for that. And something that you remind me, I want to talk to you about. You are so good at knowing what works for your store. Like when I brought my stuff to you, you're like, do a different color, name drop, take the name off of this. I don't want this stitching, change it. And you're spot on because everything's done really good. So what do you think, where do you think that comes from? Or do you have like a strategy, or, because it's really impressive.
I guess yes and no. Some of it, I suppose, is just kind of a natural inkling. And a lot of it is just from experience of what has and hasn't sold, truthfully. And I can be spot on for 2 years ago with you, and I could be wrong for this year like that. You just have to kind of go with your gut. Truthfully, I'm not a con artist, but if I love the ice, I could sell ice to Eskimos.
Yeah.
So I try and bring stuff into my store that I love, things that I think would really make your house look like a home. Or for me, a passion is having handmade goods. So what I'm passionate about is being able to support my family and yours. So that kind of all goes in together, I suppose, with it.
Yeah.
So I think probably just knowing kind of what moves, what fits us would probably be the biggest things that make me make my decisions about stuff like that.
Yeah. So just having like a clear vision on being a modern day Mercantile.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would say that was probably the hardest thing about moving into the bigger store, since Last and Gift was gone. What do I want to keep? That I feel like the community wanted or needed, without giving up who we are. Without, I have had some customers not be happy and say, I liked your old store better.
That has to
But we do
hurt.
kind of have to change. It does. It does hurt
Yeah.
my heart, but I also love the straightforwardness of it. And I love that they love me enough to tell me that and trust that I'm not going to, you know, be angry about it.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
You want to show us some of the stuff that you have today?
Let's see.
What are some
My
of your faves?
favorite for this year is this butterfly stem. These to me are
Those
just
are
magical.
so pretty.
And there's wire in it so you can move it around. I have these in a couple different displays, but I think this is probably hands down my favorite piece that we have this year. It's just so
Gorgeous.
beautiful. We had bought some stems with some tiny little white ones on it, and I walked around the corner with our vendor, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to have those monarch butterflies. So I would say this is my favorite piece
I might
that
buy
we have.
it. I'm probably gonna buy it, you guys. Do you have more? Because I don't want to.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I bought a whole
She's
bunch.
got
I
plenty,
try
'cause
and buy
I'm
enough to
gonna
put
keep
up
one.
in my displays and have extra on hand. But just so everybody knows that's listening, our displays are put together for you to take them apart.
That's good
Don't
to
be
know.
shy. Yeah.
That's good to know.
I have so many people like, oh, I really want that, but I don't want to take it apart. Listen, I can make a new one.
Hands on.
Yeah, they're there
Get
for
in
you
there.
to pull it apart. Something that we've carried for a long time is the Myra bags. These are all made in India. Anything that's canvas on them is all recycled military canvas from around the world, which I love.
Oh, that's awesome.
The company, I believe, is American owned. Don't quote me on that, but it's all fair trade. So everybody that works there, that does the tanning, that does the furs, that does the sewing, are all paid living wages. It's not slave labor. So I love that about them also. And they're really tough and hardy. And we have people come in year after year, and this is kind of their souvenir for Chester. And I
That's
love that.
cool.
We try and bring in a variety, not bring in the same purses
Yeah.
all the time.
Makes for like a really good beach bag.
Totally. My niece, who works with me, Lily, went to trade show with us this year, and she packed her weekender, which is actually the smaller version of this. And we were there for 4 days, and she had that bag fit everything that she needed in that one little bag. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So they're pretty great. And the handles stayed. They didn't rip. They didn't stretch. So that's a testament to how toughly they're built.
Yeah.
Puzzles. We carry puzzles because Sharon did. The community loves them. We actually have a puzzle out on one of our tables at the shop that the community can come in. I put a really hard one out, 2,000 piece one. So it's really been a community effort. It's not done yet, but it's coming together. It's probably maybe 2/3 done.
Okay.
Now it's just down to the hard pieces. So if anybody wants to come in and work on it, feel free. We're going to keep up that tradition though, because people like it.
That's cool.
Probably, besides design, I'm most passionate about our espresso, in case you didn't catch that in the beginning. We currently brew exclusively Thanksgiving coffee. They're a roastery, also local-ish. They're in Fort Bragg. They've been in business for over 30 years. They have several different, I don't know what you call them. They're USDA organic, which is really difficult to get when you do coffee.
Yeah.
They have, I should have pulled up all my information.
Sorry, not to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Certified B Corporation. So that means that all of their crops are bird friendly, and that is because also goes hand in hand with the organic stamp that they have, the USDA organic, is because they grow it underneath the canopy in the rainforest. They don't plow over any trees.
Oh, wow.
They're also a give back. So their slogan is not just a cup, but a just cup. So where they grow, local tribes harvest and do everything there, and they're paid fair wage. They give back to the community often. I'm not going to say specifics because since this is going out there, I would want to be right. So, but they really love on the communities that harvest and take care of their beans.
Smell it. It looks great.
And they actually just this year won Roaster of the Year.
Oh, congrats
Yeah,
to them.
and we have all the way from the upsetter, which is the light roast, the lightest roast that they do, to the uber dark, which is a Sumatra.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we sell them all whole bean. If you don't have your own grinder, we will grind it there at the shop for you.
Oh, that's good.
For
to
free,
know.
no charge. And then Piper and Leaf is the company that we chose to do all of our teas. They're in Alabama. They're a smaller family-owned business, and they're pretty fabulous. So we sell loose leaf, we sell tea bags, and then these are some have been more popular. They put it in these little boxes, and this one is just the seasonal blends. So there's 16 bags in here, and it's all of the ones. This is kind of the more Christmassy one: Velvety Bliss, Monk's Meditation, Sweet Dixie, Caramel Apple Pie, Pumpkin Moonshine, Cherry Christmas, and Mistletoe Grove.
Sounds delicious.
They are. They're fabulous.
gosh.
So this is what we brew and sell, and you can buy your own to brew and sell. We have antiques. This is just kind of an example. This is these are little hand warmers. They're like butane hand warmers. This is one of our local artisans. These are all cotton washcloths. We've got handmade soap from Susanville, handmade whipped tallow from the Susanville area also.
Tallow's really good. That's like decadent.
It's magical.
Yeah.
And the gal that does this, they do sustainable ranching. So no antibiotics, no junk in their cows. And they're on their own range. So no yucky food.
It's like the real deal right
Yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah. It's been flying off the shelves.
I bet.
Yeah, I thought, winter will be slow, but actually winter's the perfect time to use tallow.
Yeah, because we get
Face
so
and
dry.
hands, face and hands, face and hands.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of customers buy the smaller one, and then you save a little bit if you buy the bigger version. It's like $5 that you save total ounces. And then we have a beautiful line of scented candles. As you can see, one of Shelby's grandma's little creations down there. Shelby's like our Bigfoot queen. She loves it. And I love your version of the Bigfoot graphics. It's so much fun, and people love it too. For me, it like comes to life.
Yeah.
I could just see the wind blowing in the breeze in their hair, their silky hair, you know?
Yeah.
They're
And I
so
made those
cute.
like especially for your store.
I love them.
Yeah.
My customers love them.
Good,
So
good.
yeah.
and they're still doing good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I don't know if she wants to like switch it up every couple years.
I think we
or-
should. I think it's
Okay.
going to be time once I run out of what I've got. But yeah, they've
Okay.
been a big hit. Bigfoot's a thing.
No, I love Bigfoot.
So
I'm
yeah,
obsessed.
Yeah.
And I sell my Bigfoots at my pop-up shops, but the Bigfoots in Jody's store, those are only for Jody's store. You can tell they're inspired by Jody's store, so check them out
It's
because
so much fun.
they're
it really
they're
is
really
fun.
really
Yeah.
fun. Okay, sorry, I digress.
And then the lanterns, and then the silk florals. Silk florals are kind of my gig.
Oh, these are beautiful.
Those are
Can I
real
touch this?
touch. Yes,
Look,
you
you
can,
just
yeah.
said get in
Yeah,
there.
those are real touch. They're pretty freaking fabulous.
Oh my
Yeah. The
gosh.
tulips are real touch.
These are
So they're a little bit
beautiful.
more spendy, but they're just gorgeous.
And they
Like
last
you would
forever.
never know. You would never know that they're not real.
I didn't. I thought they
Yeah.
were real this whole time. I was sitting.
And then we have the antique brass lantern there. So we do have an array of antiques at
That
the
is
shop
cool.
too. So we're kind of a mix. Like I said,
Yeah,
modern day Mercantile.
I love that. And you said that her name's Sharon, right? Sharon.
Yes, Sharon Henry.
She's going through her attic, and she's gonna. We're thinking to have some really cool stuff.
So we have a whole theme this year for Christmas that I kind of went all out on, vintage Christmas. So we're gonna have all the old fashioned type ornaments that are newly made because it's kind of a thing right now. And then, so a lot of stuff out of her attic is going to be in that section because it's, old stuff from her store that she brought home and stuff like that. So it's going to be really fun.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
wonder if she's gonna have any like old Coca-Cola stuff or.
I haven't found anything. I think the two funnest things that she's brought to me so far, she had this big box that I think either came from her parents or her husband, Will's parents. and they're matches. The matches are all gone, but it's the match cover, the match envelope. Is it cover or envelope? I don't know what it's called. So they're all used, but they're the really old advertisements. So PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, they're so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll have those probably out in a basket for sale. And then there was a suitcase. It's a blue suitcase. And you open it up. I almost thought about bringing it today, but it's so big. I thought it's going to take up all this space, but I'm so excited about it. It has brushes and letter and number stencils so that you can make your own little signs. And so Will used to make signs and stuff for the pharmacy with this. And it was sitting up in the attic, because things get better and easier. And we have Cricut now and all that stuff. Right. So it just set up there. But it's so cool because it has the little paint pucks and so you just open up this case and it's your whole workstation right there in this case. Yeah. It is the coolest thing ever. So that will be out at some point for sale when I find a good space for it.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah, so those are my two favorite things she's brought me so far.
It's gonna be hard to see them go, huh?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I've adjusted more in the beginning of the business. I would set up these cute little vignettes and displays, and I'd be like, okay, I want to make money, but I'm not ready to see you go yet. Mm-hmm. I love looking at it, and I'm so proud of it. But I've adjusted better to that, like. Just sell, make money, change is good, yeah. Pay the bills. But it's fun. I love it.
Do sometimes things end up sneaking into your house for your personal collection?
Very rarely. I have rules for myself.
Oh, you do? Well, tell me, because I buy my own supplies, so I need some.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm the worst at it.
Well, obviously, you've already heard I carry only things I love, usually. So I try and say, okay, if it's here for longer than a year, which most things aren't, and then I've marked it down and it still hasn't sold and I still like it, then I'll take it home.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, except for I think I broke that rule once for my husband because he really loves the gnomes.
Really?
I do not. I do not like them at all. But when I brought them in, I wanted like ones that I thought were kind of cute, like not my thing, but
right.
I thought this could be a trend, so let's do it.
Yeah.
I have to beat the Uber trend because once it hits super trendy, Walmart carries it and Hobby Lobby carries it, and I can't compete with that. They're buying it for what my wholesaler contact bought it for. They're marking it up and to what I would sell it for, and then they're marking it down to half, and they're still making a ton of money on it. But I can't compete with that.
Right. They're buying a million at a time.
That's not a poo-poo to them.
Right.
Don't stop shopping at Walmart and Hobby Lobby. But, I have to beat the high trend. I have to kind of be the trend setter, sort of, I guess you would say.
Like a niche.
Yeah. But my husband loved it, so I compromised. I said, okay, you can pick out two. So we put them up at fall. One comes up at fall and one comes up at Christmas.
Every time you see her, you're like, oh, those damn gnomes.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, that's too funny.
Everything else in the house is my way, so.
Yeah. Well, is your style, does it kind of mirror the style of the store?
I don't know. Perhaps. I do have old and new. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your touch in the store.
Yeah.
So you said that you grew up and you had the women in your family were business owners.
My mom.
Your mom.
Yes.
And so you just always assume like, hey, I can do this because I'm a woman, which is awesome. Like it never.
Yeah, I think I honestly just realized that when I was thinking about stuff that I'd like to talk about here at the podcast. I was thinking I really should thank the women ahead of me. And the more I got to thinking about it, I'm going to get teary-eyed again. They really did kind of forge a path. And we were not wealthy by any means. We were actually very poor as a kid. But I remember I didn't spend a ton of time in Lass and Gift. I did when I got older. I got my manicuring license when I was 16. And I used to go into Lass and Gift, and they had this little, I think it was Lee, called Lee Nails, and it was this little version of one set of acrylic nails, and I would practice on myself and my friends, and with my own money that I had earned. But Stepping Out in Style was the other store that Kathy Janelle owned, and for a while it was right like two doors down from my mom's beauty shop, and our dads were best friends, so they just would let me come and hang out there and touch the clothes. And I remember, I think I was in maybe fifth or sixth grade, and I could finally fit into a size 0 of knickers. She probably bought them just for me so that I could fit in a pair of clothes. But they had the, like this is in the late 80s, or well, mid 80s. So they had the big machine that would iron on the glittery on the shirts, and so I'd come in there and they'd let me help with that. And, just kind of hang out at the store, and they would love on me and treat me like I was special. And when I got older, they used to do little, like fashion shows to show their
Oh,
clothes. And I don't know to this day if it was it was probably, knowing Kathy and Sharon, it was probably some sort of, they probably made money for a charity or something. But they let me be a part of that, which I loved so much, just getting to wear the clothes, and then we would have the opportunity to buy them at a discount. So it felt as a kid magical to me. And I think that maybe that's part of it too, is that our local kids, even if they're not coming in to spend money, can come and hang out and experience being able to just be a part of something bigger than themselves, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that your niece is working in the store?
Oh, it's a family affair.
Yeah, so now you get to
So
be that for her.
perhaps, yeah. She's actually started her own business called Kindred Roots, and it's a party rental.
Oh,
So
wow.
they have tables and chairs, and big, large galvanized buckets for ice and drinks, cupcake stands, stuff like that, some other things.
Cool.
But yeah, her and her family. We have pictures of her son when he was probably just barely one, coming in with his little safety goggles on, helping us do the remodel, hanging out. And she'd come, her husband came. My daughter was there, her fiance, when he was in town, he'd come and work. My mom came every day. My friend Marley, my friend Mary, and my tirelessly working husband. I could not even begin to say enough about if I wanted to. So yeah, and my daughter works there. Yeah, and so probably, good help is hard to find. Help, period, has been hard to find when we first opened. So my staff was my family,
Yeah.
plus one other girl who I would take as family any day.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It is hard to find good help, and
yeah,
I
that
think,
you trust
yeah.
too. I'm not just going to let anybody's hands in the till
Right.
of my family business. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's important.
Definitely.
Important.
Yeah. So I have a lot of girls that are crafters, and your store it's beautiful, always looks really polished and stuff. So what advice would you give to someone who is maybe a home crafter and wants to get into retail? How can they make their products look retail ready?
Gosh, first off, love what you do. I think that is really important. Like, probably what you see more than the fun things that I have is that I really do love what I do. Um, it makes the hard days easier, and hustle, which I think I was telling my husband today, you are a hustler. You know the hustle. Like, you walked into my store and you sold yourself. You were brave enough to bring your wares in. It takes a lot to be able to do that, to put yourself out there. You're also very, for lack of a better word, coachable. Like, you did not get upset when I said, let's change this, let's do that, which is a quality that you need, I would think. Like, you have to be able to learn and accept, I mean, I do things that I love and not everybody loves them, and it kind of hurts a little Like, it's painful. It's like getting stabbed in the heart because you put your everything into it.
Right.
But you have to be able to, if you want to put your wares in that place, you have to be able to, you know, zig, zag, or whatever. I think you could probably attest to more of that than I could, really. Like, you could probably mentor in that. I think you're really good at it.
I would love to. And
Yeah.
I think when I first came into Lake Almanor as a business owner, because I had lived there for a few years, but when I first started my business and I was, I thought, oh, I'm going to go into a store and everybody's going to want to work with me because I'm local. But I was actually seeing the opposite. A lot of people were hesitant because local people have a tendency to just product drop, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
They just want to put the same thing in every single store.
Yeah.
And
Which is not a good thing.
no. So if you want to talk about that, what it's
Yeah.
like to see your product everywhere.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I haven't carried everybody that's come in to ask, because I do ask for exclusivity. And Shelby was willing to do that. She was willing to work with what I wanted. And of course, she can sell her wares anywhere. But I asked that what she had in my store didn't go in anybody else's. So I had the exclusive on that. It's a good way to get people in. I would say you also, again, talking about being able to change. If things don't seem to be moving, don't be too prideful to ask people. Be willing, ask people who are going to tell you the truth. But what do you think about this? Like, what am I doing wrong? Did I just miss the trend? Did I, what do I need to tweak about this that might change? Because things change and you're going to miss the mark sometimes. I miss the mark sometimes. I might buy, 30, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when it just cost me $500 to buy 30 of those, and I put them out and they're not moving. It also could be just a matter of how you're displaying it. I've had stuff that I've had in the store, through one high season, and I'm like, this is so cool. I don't understand why people don't like it. And I've moved it twice, and I move it and display it a third way, and they fly off the shelf. So I'm sure there's science to it. Again, I'll just say, like, I am uneducated. I have no business degree. I have no interior design degree. It's just me. I learned the hard way, but that's just how I roll. That's me. It's not for everybody, but I have a lot to learn from those who are too. I'm willing to ask questions still today, like, and I will ask hard questions. What did I miss the mark on this or whatever? Like, you just have to take it in the shorts sometimes.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part of running the business?
I think for me, this time, moving into this space and hearing people's negative words, and some of it felt so personal. Like, they would say that we were rude, or it's definitely disheartening when you've put so much effort into what you've done and you think, okay, maybe I wasn't trying to be rude, but what about my personality do I need to change on those busy days? Because I can get very focused. I'm very task oriented. So let's say on the 4th of July, when we've got 20 people in line and we are nonstop coffee, milkshakes, sundaes, I am focused on making sure you get the item you asked for the way you asked for it in a timely manner. So we're hustling, like, on those days especially. We don't get restroom breaks, we don't get lunch breaks.
Right.
We work right straight through it.
Yeah.
And so I am, like, hyper focused, probably to a detriment sometimes. So I have to take that, even though sometimes I go in the back and cry a little bit, and say, okay, how can I improve this? What can I do? Which is really hard for me to change the way I am, like, to the core, because I want to be efficient, to stop, take a break, say hi,
Yeah.
And so we have changed a little bit this year as far as staffing. I'm trying to staff more, which is taking a risk. It's going to cost me a lot more money to add 2 staff behind the fountain, but that will free me up a little bit, which I hope will make people a little bit happier. I can kind of bounce around and do what they can't do because they're being slammed so heavy. So that's been the hardest for me. You put so much time and effort and money you invest a lot of money. It's not cheap. You look at the beautiful tablecloth that she has here and the stuff that she's put in the back, all the cameras, the lights, they all cost dollars. And I know it might sound kind of rude and brash, but I don't think everybody understands that. And the heart and soul that people put into opening their own business. It's worse than wearing your heart on your sleeve. And when somebody says something nasty about it without even trying to come to you first, and I think, people don't realize the power that they have with the movement of their thumb on their phone. Back in the day, you would have had to pay for an ad in the newspaper to have not even that much reach. And today, people can do it in 5 seconds. And you're talking to me, and you're talking to my family, and you're talking to, I don't mean to be negative, but I wish people would realize really the effect that they have when they do unkind things. Maybe I was a bee. Maybe I was having a really rough day.
Right. We're all human.
Yeah, a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
I mean, I give it to my customers all the time. But it has to go both ways sometimes because God first, family second. But short of that, this business is our whole world. It is everything. And so I don't think people understand that.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can until you've owned a business yourself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
It's
It's true.
yeah. You just
Yeah. I don't collect a paycheck.
right. Yeah. It's not for the money.
Yeah. And I'm also, maybe to my detriment, I'm unwilling to live by the rule of the customer's always right.
Oh.
Because you
I'm
don't
with you.
get to come in and be unkind to my girls. My kids are there. My niece is there. And the rest of them are like family. And so I will not have that. I will not have that. I can take a lot, but you're not touching my kids.
Yeah.
So I do not live by that motto. I don't love it even a little.
Yeah, it's tired and played out.
It is.
And
I think so.
yeah, it's enabling. Like you don't get to come in and just be rude just because you're a customer.
Right.
Like,
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I've seen some of the reviews, and I think to myself, okay, do you just expect every woman to be super bubbly and happy all the time? Like, are
Yeah.
they just expecting that of you because you're a woman? Like, would they expect the same thing if you walked into a hardware store and a man was behind the counter? I'm not gonna
True.
expect him to say, "Oh, hi, how
Perhaps.
are you doing?"
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think. Like, okay, how much of it is that?
Yeah. I try and give people lots of space. I did have a gal actually call my store, which I'm so grateful for. But I think they were so angry that they couldn't communicate well. And as much as I tried, they couldn't give me the proper information for me to try and fix. And they didn't even give me a hot minute. They prefaced the phone call with, "I don't want anything from you," which wasn't true. And so by the end, they're giving me dates, and I'm thinking, well, if it was the date that you thought, that was me.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you it definitely wasn't me. So,
Yeah.
like, what? Are you sure it was this day? Yes, I'm positive. So when my girls came in, I talked to them a little bit, But by the time my girls had come in, I already had a bad review on Yelp. So it's like, okay, you obviously wanted something I didn't satisfy what you wanted. So, and we did do some rectifying that day. I had a little bit of a harsh talk with my girls because she was right. She was just wrong about the day. But there was no way for me to talk to her about that.
Right.
Obviously, I'm going to, say whatever on my response. But, it's hard stuff.
Yeah, it is hard when somebody. So it's not even about the business at that point. It's like sometimes they just come after your character,
Right?
And it's just
Yeah.
kind of.
And there's going to be those people. Like, I have learned to have a tougher skin, not to take it personally, and to know where my boundaries are. Like, I took myself off as an administrator on some of the things so that I'm just not going to do it. I do my best every single day when I walk in that store. That store is mine. I own it. I own it all. and I'm not saying I own it dollar wise, but I own up to everything that happens in that store. And so I do my best every day. And I expect that of my staff also. So, yeah,
And that's all we can do.
yeah, it's true.
That's all
You
we can
can't
do.
expect much from me.
Right.
And I try and improve a lot. So I pulled myself off of it. I still, when the girls tell me we have another review, I literally get sick to my stomach. But my boundary is that I just, if it's not good, I don't read it anymore. I'll have one of my girls read it and I'll talk to them and say, okay, true, what's true of that? What's not true of that? What do we need to improve? But I would say over the last few years, I do have a little bit of a tougher skin, but it's something I did not anticipate. I didn't expect to be hailed as a hero, but I certainly expected more gratitude. I think people have to be over the top wowed to say something nice and mildly disappointed to put something not so nice.
That's true.
So I did not anticipate that. I did
Yeah.
not, because I did not really experience that in the tiny store. But again, I think it really boiled down to some people's grief, and they were grieving what was there, and so hopefully they'll be able to kind of ebb with us into the new. You know, we just had to make some changes in order for it to be able to stay. So
Right.
we are one of the few left in America soda fountains. And there's a reason for that. It's because they don't make money. When you're paying somebody $16 an hour to wash dishes, plus, you know, wage taxes, workman's comp,
Right. I was going to say the
you know,
insurance.
and power's gone up. It's all the things, you know. So, food is a volume thing, and we definitely don't have enough like we would have to be 4th of July busy every day to make profit. Almost every day, at least 3 days a week. So it's a community service, whether people get that or not. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's on you guys. I think it's great that you
It is
kept
fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
So
So you said you would have to be 4th of July busy. How do you manage owning a business in a touristy town that ebbs and flows drastically?
well, we know when our high season is. We know what our low season is. You have to be good at saving. My husband is my accountant, so he does that for me. He's really good at saving. So we have a stash to get us through the winter. And you learn staffing, you learn different things. You have to make calls that might not be popular, but our second year in, we close a soda fountain a half an hour earlier than we close a shop. So the soda fountain would close at 4:30, and I left the shop open till 5 to give people shopping opportunity. But it confused people. They would get angry. You know, oh, they didn't serve, they would only serve me ice cream 20 minutes before close. Actually, the soda fountain had been closed for 40 minutes. I was doing you a solid. So people weren't understanding. So was it this last year? Maybe that was last year that I tried that, because it's literally thousands of dollars in wages that 30 minutes costs me, just to have the girls sitting around when I could have them cleaning up. So you have to be willing to make decisions like that. Might not be the most popular with 10 people that come in after 4:30, but so now we just close the shop at 4:30 in the summer. In the winter we close at 4. I don't serve ice cream during the winter, so we have ice cream service through the end of December, and then until the ice cream runs out, and then we shut down the freezers through until April.
Because that's expensive to keep a freezer
It
going.
is. It's a lot, and it was before last time I did the math. For each freezer, it was before our power went up $100 a month.
Just for the freezer.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And then the ice cream. Each of them holds probably almost $900 to $1,000 worth of ice cream.
Goodness.
And you have to have it full-ish for it to run well. So imagine if I'm making one sundae, 3 shakes, and maybe a float here and there. So my ice cream's going to go bad. So then I have to dump it out.
Oh,
It is. It's painful. So I think it's just things people don't think about.
Yeah.
So I also really hate telling people in the winter that we're not serving ice cream because I hate disappointing people too.
Yeah.
But it's just something that has to be done.
Yeah.
You have to do it. So making hard decisions like that, you just have to do.
And are you open all year long?
We are. We close usually 1 week sometime in the winter. Trade show. Sometimes it'll be 2 weeks if we actually decide to take an actual vacation. But it's during the uber slow season. So, yeah, we're open most of the time.
Yeah.
Right now, our hours are 7 a.m. to 4. We might be changing that next winter, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I saw that you girls are doing like the really cute TikToks and stuff. And
Oh, that's my niece. She's my niece.
so
I was really good at Facebook, and every time we had it started an Instagram account, and I'm born in 1973, not young. For some reason, Instagram was just like foreign to me. And every time I try to go put on a post, let alone anything trendy, it's just going to be something like I put on Facebook, right? Because somehow my Instagram got connected to my personal Facebook, which was awesome until I figured out how to turn that off. And so I talked to my niece and I'm like, hey, would you be willing? I'll pay you to run my Instagram. So she started that, and then I was like, later, I'm like, so how about if you just do Facebook too? That would be awesome. So she's doing it all, and I love it, and she's doing a fabulous, fabulous job. Well worth every dime, I think.
She is doing great.
Yeah.
It's really cute. Like I love the coffee ones, and it's really cute. So that's been fun learning the social media videos and stuff.
Yeah, she's doing an awesome job at it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. She's convinced me a little bit to like show my face.
Yeah, I saw you on one. My favorite one was like, oh, who's that? Our favorite customer. It's you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, so
I think that one got most of the, like, that was like the first one I was really, really in. And she's like, look, that one got the most traction. And I'm like, whatever.
That one was so cute. Raise your hand if you think that Jody should do more TikToks and
I
Instagrams.
will. Even though I don't want to, I will.
They're so cute. I love them.
Thank you.
So you guys have the soda, ice cream, not in the winter, understandably,
Mm-hmm.
and then the coffee. So where did the passion for the espresso and everything come from?
We've been espresso snobs for a really long time. Like, we started drinking candy coffee, the blended only. It's not a put down to anybody. And then, have just really refined and refined and refined. We had some friends in Chester when we moved back that owned Three Bean, super superior espresso. And they kind of weaned us off the candy stuff and onto the cappuccinos and all of that. And we just love the taste of espresso. And we have a passion for small business too. Like, I would much rather give small business my dollars for a coffee drink, taste it, not like it, and throw it in the trash than to spend my money at big box. So, we just love espresso. And it kind of fits with what we've always wanted. And so we pursued it and waited for the right time. And so here we are. All of our coffee recipes are all in-house. They're all artisan. So from your hot drink to your blended drink, it's the same exact recipe. For the blended, we use a slightly sweetened dairy base that helps everything stay combined so it doesn't get weird and slushy.
Like an emulsifier.
Correct. But it is the same recipe. It has the same amount of chocolate or syrups in it, the same amount of shots. A lot of places don't even put actual espresso in their blended drinks.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
Starbucks.
It's all powder mix. And if you've asked for affogato, on the top of your blended drink at one of those places or in it, you'll notice that it really poofs everything up and you don't get all of your drink because the espresso changes the recipe completely. So we've worked really hard to make sure that you are getting fresh shots of espresso in every espresso drink that you order because that's what we love.
Yeah.
And so...
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It took a
Huge
long
deal.
time to I mean, we had to do all the recipes for all of that.
Yeah.
All of our smoothies are all fresh, not fresh fruit. It's from a company, but it's all pureed fruit. There's no extra added sugar, so it's fruit, water, ice.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So
'Cause-
we try and stay as clean as we can. Um, so
yeah, because if you go to Dutch Bros, I'm just gonna say it. If you go to Dutch Bros, the base of all their drinks is flippin' chocolate milk. Like
really,
yeah,
I see. I didn't know that.
yeah,
I don't.
it's chocolate
Yeah,
milk.
I'm
Starbucks,
not like a
the
huge fan. So
oh, it's candy coffee. Like
yeah,
Dutch
I
Bros
will
is
go
chocolate
there.
milk.
Listen, I've spent money at Starbucks and Dutch Brothers, but I know what to ask for and how to tweak it to make it so it's for me palatable. I am a snob. I'm an espresso snob. So lots of people might love it, and that's okay. I don't love how their espresso tastes. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
So
And Chester has a Starbucks now. So
they do.
how's that been?
It's been fine. My customers are amazing and loyal, and they know good coffee, good espresso. So I'm sure that I have lost some business to that for the convenience, and I will also probably lose business, unfound business, from tourists and what have you. If you have any good ideas on how to combat that, I am more than willing to listen. We've had coupons made up that we pass out at certain events, that people might go to Holiday Market or whatever to get stuff and get it because of the convenience. Hopefully, they would be willing to go out of the way. We are kind of looking at, it's a huge expense, but it could be worth it. Branding an app where you can order online. We're considering it. It's just not cheap. It's a big
Yeah.
risk.
Like a mobile ordering?
Yeah, so you would download our app, and then you could go on, pull the menu up, and order just like you would at Starbucks, ordering online through the app. And it would keep track of your purchases. So you would be already in the queue for rewards, stuff like that. Again, it's under consideration, but everything costs money. So
Yeah.
I feel like it would be worth it. At the same time, it makes my heart beat a little bit fast.
Oh, for sure. For
So
sure.
yeah, we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
We're thinking about that.
Do they have DoorDash out there?
I think that Bing's, which is a local cafe in town, has started doing food delivery. I don't know if it's through DoorDash or not. But I think so much of that, like, there would be zero profit in doing coffee that way.
Yeah.
So our margins aren't huge on food. So it's hard in a rural area to do that. And also to keep quality, if somebody's driving an iced coffee or a hot coffee 15 miles, which is halfway around the lake, what are they really getting? Are they getting what I want them to, or are they getting an iced down, cooled down something?
Right.
So that's
That they're
something,
not going to like.
yeah, that we've thought about, but quality is important to us. So
Yeah. Well, that's good.
yeah.
That's good, though. So your daughter is working at the store, your niece is working at the store, and then is it your daughter, you said, or your niece that does the party rentals?
My niece.
Your niece is doing the party rentals,
Yeah.
and we'll have a link. I don't know. I'm assuming she has like an Instagram or something.
She does have an Instagram, and I think she's working on her web page. Yeah. So
Perfect.
business minded. My daughter's also a licensed esthetician. She's dual licensed in the state of Oregon and California.
Oh, cool.
She just had a baby, my first grandkid, 4 months old. So she's not really hustling right now, but yeah, she's working on that too.
So
She does lashes and
yeah.
facials and stuff like that.
Then they're all business minded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Do
Yeah.
you think any of them will want to take over the store?
I don't know. I don't. There is no pressure. It would make my heart happy if they were happy to do that. However, there is no thought or dream of, oh, I'm doing this for you. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I would have to.
My husband is a handyman. He's been a licensed contractor for like 13 years. And we've always brought our kids to work with us. And one day he asked our daughter, Michaela, to go with him on a quick plumbing job because he just needed, hand me the tools, whatever. And she had been coming with us forever. So he asked her to go. And don't be mad at me, Michaela.
Embarrassing story.
I tell everyone this. So, and she started crying. And we're like, "What's wrong?" And she's crying. She's like, "I don't want to be a plumber when I grow up." Like in her little mind, she had just already thought we had this expectation that we were teaching her all these things so that she could take over the business someday. And it broke my heart a little bit. And I'm like, "Oh, that's so cute."
Yeah.
So we explained to her, we don't expect you to take over the business. You don't have to become a plumber. But where you will a benefit from this is, someday, who knows when you will get married or whatever. If you do, you'll have knowledge so that when contractors come in, you'll know what they're talking about. Like she could plumb your bathroom for you. She really could. Like she knows how to measure. She knows, all the things. So it gives you skills, to kind of be able to be independent for yourself too,
Yes.
as a female. And I think after that, she was more okay with it. But it was so cute. She just started crying, and we're like, "What the heck is wrong with her? I don't want to be a plumber when I grow up." So I don't. There's no pressure. College, no college. Trade, trade school, no trade school. It's you pursue what you love. Do what you love. So if one of them would like to someday maybe take it over, great. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
We'll fire sale it all off and just retire and be done. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But I do love working with my family. I love it. We're, I would say, pretty tight compared to most families. So, yeah.
I love that. I'm really family.
Me too.
As you can tell, Grandma comes in.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
I do love that
So
about
I'm totally
you.
with you there.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts or any words of advice for a woman who wants to run her own business?
I don't even feel like I'm in any spot to give advice. I've said it a few times, and I guess I'll just say it again. If you are loving what you're doing, the hard days will be easier. There are days that it's hard to get up at 5 a.m., to show up to have the store open by 7. But I get there, and most of the time, once I get there, I'm good, because I am 95% of the time passionate about what I do, and 95% of the time, I love it. So that's just for me a major bonus. And I think don't be afraid to pursue your dreams. I think to a point with certain things, I was just telling Shelby about the 80th celebration. What if we plan this huge thing and nobody shows up? Like the fear of failure is always there, but meh. So I plan an 80th party and nobody shows up. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I didn't die.
Right.
I might be out some money and I'm going to be stuck with all these ice cream themed things, but I'll figure it out. I'm not going to, spend so much money that it's going to make me go broke or bankrupt.
Right.
But if you look at the most successful people out there financially, most of them have declared bankruptcy once or twice in their lifetime. So I think that the takeaway from that would be don't be afraid of failure. We learn from everything, even the hard things. And we come out of the fire more we find. So, diamonds. They're squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. So the most precious things come out of the hardest, hottest spots. So don't be afraid of failure.
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
And your store hours for the spring and summer?
Spring, it just kind of depends. The season isn't always the same. There's nothing reliable. Schools are always changing their hours, when they open, when they close. So springish, somewhere probably right around Memorial Day weekend, it'll be 7 a.m. to 4:30, and it'll be that way all through summer. Tuesday through Saturday, and then we will start probably then opening up on Sundays, just a really short time, 11 to 3. I always love to hear your opinions on hours, but if it comes with actually when you're willing to show up,
Yeah.
that's a bonus. We have so many people complain that stores aren't open, and it's like, hey, we've been open since at 7 a.m. for 4 years now,
Yeah.
So we've considered maybe opening later, even though we serve coffee, and staying open in the evening for ice cream. I don't know. It's all, you got to be flexible.
Yeah.
You got to try new things.
Yeah.
So,
But she's right there on Main
but
Street.
for
Can't
this
miss it.
summer, it will be 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 3.
Perfect. And then how can people find you on Instagram?
Good question. I don't even really know what that means. I don't even know what our handle is. We are Rusty Chandelier on Facebook. I think there's a link to our Instagram there.
I'll find it. I'll put it in
I
the
don't even
description.
touch our Rusty Chandelier Instagram page at all because it, like I said earlier, it's like a foreign language to me.
Okay.
It took me 20 minutes to just post a picture on there. So it needs some updating, but we also have a web page, not sailing things, but rustychandelierandchester.com. You can kind of look on that. Kind of some of our older stuff on there. So
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming
thank
on. I
you.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
And let me know how much the butterflies are because I'm going to be buying them right now. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank
and
you.
We hope to see you at the 80th
Yes.
and during the summer.
It's going to be
shop.
so much fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you, Shelby.
As you can see, I'm so organized over here.
Those are cute. I didn't even realize
Aren't they
those were your
cute?
notes on there.
Yeah, these are my official notes. Yeah, I think that was